Ladies and gentlemen, we are live for today's coverage of the EchoPark Automotive Grand Prix at COTA, Circuit of the Americas. The NASCAR Cup Series is back once again for the second time. Of course, last year they raced in the rain throughout most of the series, but especially through Sunday's torrential downpour last season for the Cup Series. They have dry, hot, slick, sunny conditions today. Completely different racetrack, and we'll get to see those drivers try to attack this completely different racetrack with a completely different car from years past. It is the first road course race with the next-gen car today at Circuit of the Americas. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into today's pre-race live stream, as we will, of course, with this pre-race live stream, end up having the pre-race, or I should say the live race commentary on the channel coming up at the bottom of the hours when that will all get kicked off as well. Can't wait to bring you guys the coverage of today's race. But first, we have fantasy analysis to go through, predictions for today's race, my predictions in specifics for who I think will run well, not run well, maybe potential underdog picks as well. Tristan Heidenkamp, welcome to the stream. Am I doing the commentator for the race today? Yes, I am. I just stated that. I will be doing live commentary for the race. Anytime we do a live stream predictions video this year, you know that the live commentary for the race is coming up immediately after the fact. So this is to get you geared up for it today. Of course, that race will start again towards the bottom of the hour. Patrick Shadley, I see you in the chat as well. Got your popcorn ready for the race today. Yeah, this should be an interesting one to say the least. The Xfinity and the truck races are definitely, they were all right, I guess, yesterday. There were definitely some great moments in both races. I guess the Xfinity race kind of ended anticlimactically, especially after that last restart when one of the favorites, Ross Chastain, had gotten spun, kind of leading AJ Almendinger all by himself to pull away those last few laps and win, even though there's a lot of battling going on pretty much from second, third on back behind him. But as far as today's race, that's what we're going to talk about in this predictions live stream. We have until about 3:20 to 3:25 to get all of the predictions going for today's race, so I'm not going to waste any more time. And let's talk about today's coverage. So first and foremost, with the predictions on the season, the preseason predictions, I have predicted one race correctly. That was in the preseason prediction video I had earlier this year when I predicted Kyle Larson to win at Auto Club. On the week-by-week predictions, which would be these predictions live streams or videos, I have not predicted a race winner yet in the first 5 races of the season. As far as the must-have predictions go, a 500 record. I'm 6-6 with the drivers I have that I say will absolutely get top 10s today and are favorites to potentially win based off of how they run throughout the course of the day. So I'm 50-50 with that basically this year. The dark horse predictions was really good, except for the last 2 weeks. I took a downward spiral. Now I'm 4-6. That's the only below 500 record I have for any of the predictions this year would be the dark horse predictions. But the don't have predictions, the drivers I predict to not run well throughout the race, I'm doing pretty good with that. 5-4 this season. I have a winning record there. So we'll see how that'll stack up today. Don't have a lot of predictions as far as the drivers themselves because it's a little harder to grab analysis for a track that we've only raced at one other time. So trying to take road course experience in recent years, especially last year, into consideration today as well. Gonna get the first one out of the way here. I've talked about it earlier in the week during the live streams that we've covered on the NASCAR video game races, but also going to cover it right here, right now as well. Chase Elliott's my pick to win today. I'm not going to waste any time with this one. Chase Elliott is the favorite. I think he is the only absolute must-have that you should have in your lineup. The rest of them, you could pretty much gauge that they could definitely have a good run, but it's hard to say with specific drivers, you know, like, I guess, Kyle Larson, who was doing good on the road courses last year. He ran well at COTA last year, finished second, but we don't know how that's going to work, especially with the race being in the rain last year. And this is the first race with the next-gen car as well on a road course. So taking one good year for Larson into consideration with road course racing, I'm not overly confident he's going to have a great shot to win today, even though he can definitely pull it off. It is Kyle Larson we're talking about. But when we're talking about Hendrick Motorsports, Chase Elliott is the guy to beat. And today, I think he will be the guy to beat as well. Chase Elliott's road course stats are just ungodly. We know he's got the best average finish of road course drivers, or road course races. He's only had 19 career starts on road courses, so the fact that he has 7 wins is pretty insane. He only won twice last year. Kyle Larson did beat him 3 races to 2, but look at the races that he did not win. He finished 2nd in the Busch Clash last year, 21st at the Daytona Road Course regular season race, even though he won a stage, led the most laps in that race. Remember, they had that quote-unquote rain caution, which ended up freezing the field at the time, set up a restart, and he got turned on the restart. So it looked like he was going to have a good shot to win that race. That kind of went out the window. Nothing of his fault, though. And then he ended up having that win at COTA in the rain. He didn't win at Sonoma, but he finished 2nd. Backed that up with a win at Road America. Didn't win at Watkins Glen, but he finished in 2nd. Finished 4th at the Indianapolis Road Course, and he finished 12th at the Roval after Harvick had wrecked him earlier in the race. He came from multiple laps down with that wrecked race car. Still finished 12th. So Chase Elliott last season, very, very good on road courses. Outside of the top 12, just one time. Outside of the top 4, just twice, and that was because Harvick wrecked him at the Roval, and he got turned on a restart late at the Daytona Road Course with 15 laps to go. So look out for Chase Elliott today. He is my pick to win. So hopefully I can get that prediction column right. He was also my preseason prediction to win today as well. Let's see. Daytona International Speedway. Jeff Sperry, welcome to the stream as well. Billy Kramer's hopping into the chat also. The race is on the main Fox network today as well. I did not preface that earlier. So Chase Elliott, you should absolutely have him in your fantasy lineups today. No ifs, ands, or buts. As far as this week, surprised that Chase Elliott did not qualify inside the top 10. He did qualify 12th, but he did not qualify inside the top 10, and he was actually outside the top 10 in practice as well. Looking at the practice leaderboard on my phone right now, I want to see where he finished. I didn't get to watch practice or qualifying yesterday. I was at work. 30th. So Chase Elliott was 30th in practice, which is pretty shocking. So they did not unload with great speed. You can definitely tell they turned it around quickly in qualifying for him to qualify 12. So hopefully, even though the car maybe isn't on the trimmed outside, maybe he can wheel that. He will wheel that thing to a top 10 no matter what. Even if he doesn't win today, bare minimum, he has a good points day. So I don't think that that's going to be a bad thing. And plus, Hendrick Motorsports has had speed this year, too. They've won the last 3 races. Even though Chase hasn't won one of those, he is the points leader, so he's been the most consistent driver of any so far this year, even though he doesn't have a win to show for in the wins column. Suarez is winning. That is Furfur Express's prediction here. Surprising nobody's talking about AJ. Well, I will right now. I mentioned Chase Elliott's really the only absolute must-have that you should have in your lineup today. Well, AJ Almendinger is one of the couple drivers that I have in my dark horse predictions. AJ does have to start at the rear of the field. Had to make some steering adjustments post-qualifying, so he'll be starting at the back, but he said his car's fast, and if AJ says his car's fast on a road course, his car has to be fast. Colleague Racing had good runs on road courses last season. I think Kaz Grala had a top 10 on one of the road course races as well last season for Trackhouse in the Cup Series. AJ Allmendinger, of course, won at the Indianapolis road course last year with Colleague Racing, their first win in the Cup Series. And then even without that win, he ended up having 2 top 10 finishes. In fact, AJ Allmendinger finished 5th at COTA last year in the Cup Series, so top 5 there. And he also finished 7th at the Daytona road course in February last season. He did not race in the Cup Series at Watkins Glen or Sonoma. The only other Cup starts he had last year would have been the Roval and the Road America race. The Roval, he had an engine failure in stage 1, and then at Road America, he ended up having some mechanical issues there that took him out in the second stage, even after he was running in the top 10. So AJ Allmendinger, even last season, was good in the Cup Series side of things with the road courses. He won a couple of Xfinity races as well. He won yesterday at COTA in the Xfinity race in pretty dominating fashion, at least in the final stage. So AJ Allmendinger, I think he's going to get a top 10 at bare minimum today, even though he's starting at the rear. Now, he's not running for points as far as driver points go, so he may not stay out during the stages. I think his race strategy is going to be simply to go for the win and the win only today. So he may not score a lot of stage points, especially with him starting out back, but I'd say at the end of the day, he still gets a top 10 finish. I think that he would be a good dark horse pick or a good sleeper pick for you guys' fantasy lineups today. Another driver who is a good sleeper pick for your fantasy lineups today is Ross Chastain. I have not really talked about him much this year. The predictions video side of things, post-race, we've been talking about him a lot recently, considering that he has had some great runs. But as far as the predictions go, haven't really talked about him a lot. He's got 3 straight top 3 finishes, 2 runner-up finishes in the last 3 races. He is very close to breaking into the win column. He finished 4th at COTA last season, and in fact, outside of COTA, his road course finishes were pretty good last year. Finished 4th at COTA, 7th at Sonoma, 7th at Road America, 12th at Watkins Glen. So 4 of the 7 road courses last year finished in the top dozen. That was with Chip Ganassi Racing. You look at the speed Trackhouse has this year. Again, I mentioned 3 straight top 3s for Ross Chastain, but even Daniel Suarez has 2 top 5 finishes. Last week at Atlanta for Daniel Suarez finished in either 4th or 5th. I know he had a top 5 though, and then he also had a 4th place finish at Auto Club a couple weeks prior to that. Chastain had a good car in that race. Unfortunately, he got caught up in one of the accidents in the final stage and didn't have a good finish. But Trackhouse has brought a lot of speed to the racetrack. A lot of the Chevy teams have brought speed to the racetrack. Hendrick obviously has won the last 3, but then has won 3 races this season of the 5. But you look at outside of Hendrick Motorsports, that the Ross Chastain Trackhouse cars in general have had speed. Richard Childress Racing has had speed. Petty GMS, at least with the 43 car, has had really great speed. I would not be surprised if Ross Chastain doesn't keep a good hot streak going today. Again, bare minimum, he gets a top 10 in today's race. I think he would be a good sleeper pick for your lineup as well. We'll see down in the chat and in the comments section what you guys think about the 3 predictions I have with Elliott, Chastain, and Almendinger. Hamlin point. Do you say Suarez is going to win? Oh, brother, please. You never know. I don't think he's going to win. He did qualify really well. And again, Trackhouse has had speed. He's had 2 top 5s this season. I just had it on my phone and now I lost it. Yeah, Daniel Suarez has had speed this week too. He was 2nd in practice and 2nd in qualifying. Not a bad pick. I'm not going to talk about him, in the dark horse light. I'd lean towards Chastain or Almendinger, but I think Suarez could have a good run. Blaney Day Keegan, my usage rate of him is concerning. I have him in my garage today only because I have used him quite a few times as well this year. And some of the time he's ran really well, and some of the time he's ran well in every race. He just hasn't got, like last week at Atlanta, he was top 5 most of the day, and he got in the wall in the final lap, finished 17th. And then there was another race this year where Auto Club, that's right, his pit crew was just terrible all race long. He would drive up into the top 5, like 3rd to 5th, and then his pit crew would lose him 10 spots on pit road, and he'd do it again. And unfortunately, he got caught up in an incident as well, I believe, on the final lap of that race, or in the final restart of that race. So he ended up falling outside of the top 10 that day too. But outside of that, though, Blaney has finished well and ran well throughout the race. He ran well throughout those 2 races he didn't have good finishes on. He's on the pole today. He could have a good run, but I'm not going to put him in the must-have lineup this week because I've been talking about him a lot this year. I've been really talking about the Penske cars a lot this year, and that's why I'm not talking about Austin Cindric in the predictions video. I try to go to different drivers when I make these bold predictions pre-race of who's going to run well and who isn't. If I start to talk about the same drivers over and over and over again, I try to step away from that, so that's why I'm not talking about any of the Penske cars today, specifically in the predictions video. Mr. Balls, welcome to the stream. R6R6, welcome in as well. AJ finishes 3rd, Elliott 9th, Chastain 6th. Hey, if that happens, my predictions for all 3 of them are correct that they would all get top 10s at bare minimum. Again, Elliott is my pick to win. That's probably the most hardest prediction to make. You got 40, well, I guess in this case, 37 cars in the field today, 37 possible outcomes. You could probably eliminate like 10 of those every week, but there is a realistic shot that maybe 20 different drivers could just show up randomly and have a good day. So it's hard to predict the winner. Exactly, especially on a week-to-week basis like we do here on the channel. All right, so we talked about the drivers who I think are going to run well. I have a couple drivers who I don't think are going to run well for particular reasons that they have not ran well on road courses in recent years. I'm going to talk about Kevin Harvick being the first driver. Kevin Harvick is one of the 2 don't-haves I have for you guys to not have in your lineup today. Do not put these drivers in your fantasy lineups. Do not bet on them to win in any way, shape, or form. And my prediction is I don't think they get top 10 finishes. Kevin Harvick, one of those drivers. Harvick did finish 6th at the Daytona Road Course last year. Outside of that, it was pretty bad. He finished 37th at COTA, 22nd at Sonoma, 27th at Road America, 14th at Indy, and 33rd at the Roval. You even flash forward to the year before that in 2020 when he had the best season, or one of the best seasons of his NASCAR Cup Series career, winning 9 races. They only had 2 road courses that year, but he finished 17th at the Daytona Road Course and 11th at the Roval. Harvick is not good on road courses in recent years. This is a new car. Maybe that could help him. But you look at the runs he's had this season, it seems like he starts off very, very slow and has to work his way forward. It's going to be tough to do that when track position is the name of the game on these road courses, and it's also going to be tough considering the fact that they did not unload with any speed at all. That's also going to hurt Harvick. Harvick was 24th in practice yesterday and ended up qualifying 18th, so he's starting mid-pack. That's not going to get him in a good spot early on. Harvick is a big don't have today. I mean, it's just plain and simple. I laid all the stats out for you guys. If you guys feel that you're going to put him in your lineup still, that's your call, not mine, but I would definitely keep Harvick out of your guys' lineup. I would also keep Brad Keselowski out of your lineup. I talked about him anytime they went to a road course last year, how bad he was at road courses, and I'm going to stay true to that this year, especially when you consider the rough week that team has already had, considering the big penalty that dropped, I believe, Thursday morning. So they're already hanging their heads maybe lower. They're going to try to hang their heads a little bit higher today, knowing it is race day, but it is going to be tough to dig out of that hole. You also put into perspective that Matt McCall, Brad Keselowski's crew chief, is suspended today, and really for the next 4 races, but today as well. So that is going to hurt Brad Keselowski as far as the race strategy goes, having an interim crew chief, and strategy is a huge part of road course racing. Road courses last year for Keselowski were also bad. Like Harvick, he did good at the Daytona Road Course, but everything outside of that was really bad. He didn't finish better than 13th place outside of the Daytona Road Course. He finished 19th at COTA, 15th at Sonoma, 13th at Road America, 24th at Indy, 35th at Watkins Glen, and 20th at the Roval. Watkins Glen and Indianapolis were those back-to-back road course races last year when they came back from that 2-week break and for the Olympics last season, and those were terrible races for Keselowski. I remember at Indy he backed it into the wall in the short chute in turns 1 and 2, whatever corner that would be, on the short chute and the straightaway. He did that all by himself, and then he ended up spinning not once but twice at Watkins Glen. And I think the second time he took a teammate with him. I think he took out Logano, if I remember correctly. And the first time he spun out when he was trying to hold off Blaney because Blaney was so much faster than he was, and he was holding him up, and he just overstepped the car. And yeah, that was Keselowski's 2021 road course racing in a nutshell, and I don't think today is going to go any better. You consider he was in Penske equipment last year, and now he's in Roush equipment. If he was struggling in Penske equipment on the road courses, knowing how good drivers are at Penske on the road courses, Blaney can hold his own. He's got a road course win. Joey Logano is underrated, I think, on road courses. He's one of the better road course racers out there. Now you got Austin Cindric in there replacing Keselowski. That's a big upside for Penske in the road course racing department, too. And knowing that there are a lot more road courses now than what there used to be, I think it's looking brighter for Penske in that aspect. I don't think Keselowski's going to have a good performance today. Mike Morgan, welcome to the stream as well. Because Logano, Cindric will do well too. I think they very well could. I've been using Logano a lot in my fantasy team this year also, so I have to take a break from him today. I had to talk myself out of it. So we got about another 5 to 7 minutes here of this pre-race prediction live stream. Then we'll go live for the live race commentary, which will be in a separate stream following this one. You can join the NASCAR Fantasy, the NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR mobile app or website. Go to KRC League in all caps for KRC, capital L on League. You can sign up with your email. It is free to join on the mobile app or website. And a chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing in 2023 if you win either the regular season or the playoff championship. So there's my fantasy advice today. Comment in the chat below. Name some drivers you want me to give some sort of predictions on. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on those 5 drivers throughout the course of today's live race commentary, and we'll see how those predictions will stack up at the end of it. But I feel very bold with my, very confident, I should say, with my predictions this weekend. Obviously, you have to feel confident with your predictions any weekend, especially when you try to go in depth like this. And I've struggled sometimes this year. I've been hit or miss. It seems like one week I'm terrible, and then the next week I'm really good with the predictions. So not a lot of consistency in there this year, but I have to say I do feel super, super confident with the statistics laid out that I just do not see Harvick or Keselowski having good runs today. Again, bare minimum, they're going to finish outside the top 10. Even if they do record stage points. And that's one thing, too, with road course racing. Harvick, Keselowski, they're not good at road course racing, especially Keselowski needing the points. I would not be surprised if he just stays out at the end of the stages to collect stage points. That's not going to mean he's going to have a good day necessarily. Just because he stays out and gets 10 stage points today during the stage breaks does not mean he necessarily had a great run. It's all going to be dependent on where he ends up finishing. Boris said, somebody mentioned Boris said in last night's live stream when we did the NASCAR 21 ignition race at COTA. Boris said, I know it's the next gen car. So it's a new car. It's the first race with this new car at a road course. So I think that will help, Boris said. But considering he's in NBM equipment really scares me. And that's what I don't think he's going to run particularly well. In practice, he was in the back half of the field, 37th in qualifying, and then in practice he was 38th. NBM is just not fast at all. The only race they've tried to even attempt to run in this year was at Daytona, and both of their cars missed the show. Only 2 drivers and 2 teams had to go home, and they were both NBN cars, which I did predict in the dual race as well, just because of how noticeably slow they were on single car speed, especially. So Boris said was me. Yeah, yep, Patrick did mention that. I think he said he had money on Boris. Somebody else said something about Boris said, though, I think last night too, that I think he'll have a good run or something, or agreed with you. But yeah, I just don't see Boris said having a good run today. It's not him, it's the equipment. We know Boris said's a really good road course racer. He is older, too, so that probably doesn't help. He's definitely not prime Boris said anymore, but honestly, if that team gets a top 20 today, that'd be a miracle. It would be an absolute miracle. But you don't know. The next-gen car is tough to drive. There's obviously been some drivers that have had issues with that this year. And we've seen a lot of cautions in all but one race. Phoenix was the only race we didn't see a lot of cautions in this season. But that was also a short track. And this car is more built for short tracks and road courses, so I don't think we're going to see a lot of cautions in today's race. If we do, it'll be in the final stage, just because, and it will mostly be on restarts if we do end up seeing any yellows or cautions, breeding cautions. We get more than a couple laps into a green flag run, it should probably stay green to the end of the stage, I would have to assume. Michael Mcdowell, yeah, that's an interesting one too. Michael Mcdowell, we know to be a very good road course racer. I think much like Boris said, his equipment's going to kind of hold him back. The difference is, obviously, front row's got a lot more speed than even NBM. It'll be interesting to see what Michael McDowell will do. It would have been very bold to have him in the sleeper pick for the predictions. He did have a couple top 10s on road courses last year. I think he had 3 of the 7 races that they did run on road courses. Overall, last year, he had 5 top 10s. 3 of them were on road courses. The other 2 was the Daytona 500, in which he won. And then also that 3rd race of the year at Homestead when he was coming out of the gate strong. So he can have a good day today. It's really, really hit or miss with him. Because the races he didn't run well last season on the road course side of things, he was just kind of mid-pack like he would be any other week. Yeah, 2 more minutes here and we'll go off. Don't do fantasy, just dig the race. Oh, if you're talking about you don't play fantasy? Hey, you got a shot to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race of your choosing in 2022. You just got to be a subscriber to the channel, and obviously you got to, win the fantasy league too. It's fun. It's free. Not like you're gambling or anything. Coming into this... Oh, okay. I was going to say, coming into this week, the fantasy standings right now, our season champion from last year, regular season champion from last year, Inside Uranus is off to a good start again this season. He's got a pretty decent-sized points lead. But he may be using, all those drivers that are finishing well every week, but you can only use them so many times throughout the course of the season, 10 for each driver. Like, I've only used Kyle Larson once this year. I think that was at Auto Club where he won, so... I haven't used Ross Chastain yet, which is kind of hurt considering he's had 3 straight top 3s. Almendinger, by the way, is another good pick for fantasy considering the fact that he's only running part-time this year, so you know for a fact you're not going to use him 10 times this season. Not a bad pick whatsoever. I'm gambling my soul. Cody Ware. I don't think Cody Ware is going to do too well today. I don't think that's a bold prediction, though. All right. I think that will wrap up this predictions video so I can get everything up and running with the live race commentary that will start in about 5 minutes at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll have the live race commentary. You guys will get to see the leaderboard, all the race analysis and statistics as the race progresses and runs on. You'll see lap times, intervals, all that good stuff. Any cautions that may come out today, you'll have that on full display, lead changes. All that will be to your guys' availability and visibility. So I will be doing the live commentary, though, throughout. You see the number 9 winning. Yep, that's my pick to win. Especially with Hendrick Motors. He's the only Hendrick car that hasn't won this year, but he's been the most consistent. It's the points leader. I got Chase Elliott winning as well. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Thank you for tuning in to this pre-race predictions live stream on the channel. And we will be live for the live race commentary here in a matter of a couple minutes. Thanks for watching again. See you very soon.